Welcome to Splorin with us with Ed and Cheryl.
This week we started celebrating National Parks Week early. We had a quite adventurous weekend. We planted some trees.
Yes, we did.
We missed a baseball game because I don't know how to use a calendar. And we tried P.F. Chang's for the first time.
Yeah.
And then we also ended on a more somber note where we went to a Holocaust commemoration for Yom HaShoah.
Yeah, Cheryl got to meet up with some old friends of hers and commemorate the victims of the Holocaust. And it was a beautiful concert and program there that talked about the resistance and those who fought back. It's very touching.
Exactly. So let's start with Saturday, though.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, we went out and decided to get a little local history at the Augusta Canal, where there was also an old mill.
Yeah.
And they were having a festival. I guess this is the second year that they've done this little celebration. So what was your favorite part of that day?
Well, I love history, so I loved the museum that they had there. You'll see, if you're watching the video here on YouTube, you'll see different parts of the museum tour, like just the building of it, what it took, some of the struggles they had with the canal, and then
Because they built it too small to start with.
Exactly, yeah, they built it too small, and then they realized that they had to widen the canal, just like a lot of things, you know.
Right, and so they were creating hydroelectricity there for the plant. Yeah, so, because, of course, in the South, it was really known for cotton production. Mm-hmm. And so this was a factory that took the cotton and made it into textiles, and then they would send it down to the Savannah River.
Yeah, down the river.
Yeah, so the canals are still there, and now they've been preserved. I think at one point they had fallen into disrepair, as sometimes will happen, and then some people came in and built this incredible museum. They had a really nice store. Mm-hmm. But my favorite part were there was a petting zoo that had come in for the day.
Yeah.
And so
they
had sheep and goats and a cow, a little baby cow, and a donkey, which I loved. I loved that donkey.
Which you'll get to see some of it on our social media.
Yeah, I shared a video of me feeding
and on the YouTube video
this aggressive goat, this food-aggressive goat. Yeah. And the donkey.
We were joking that was an Eddie goat.
Eddie, yeah, exactly.
Like, what do you got? Food? I'll take it.
He will take your food away from you, and that's what that goat was doing. And you did feed one or two animals.
Was it a donkey?
Maybe, but you didn't like it.
Well, his tongue is like, I was like, ah.
I loved it. They were so sweet. I loved it.
Very sweet.
And of course, there were a lot of children. And they had some bunnies too.
Yeah. The bunnies act like they didn't have no time for nobody. They were doing bunnies were doing their own thing. So
and we wanted to ride the canal boat. I just like taking a boat ride anyway, but I guess the boat got tired.
Well, the lady had said the boat had run so many times that day, and so by the time we got there, it had exceeded its maximum runnage time, I guess, or running time. I don't know.
And I was really excited when we got there because there was a sign that said "Fat Man's Cafe," and that just sounded like a good place to try.
Yeah, it was okay.
Well, they had a very limited menu for the event, so I think it was just you could have a hamburger, you could have a hot dog.
When you're hungry,
you could have chicken nuggets. Fine. So it was great because there were a lot of kids there. That's a perfect kid menu. Yeah. Not very good for vegans or vegetarians. But on the wall, they had a much bigger menu. So I guess you can...
There were probably more options that we didn't explore.
Yeah. But, you couldn't explore because it wasn't available.
True.
And they had some good desserts in the case, but we didn't try any of those either. No. But it was nice to have a little snack. And there was one family near us with just the most adorable little kids, a dad by himself with 3 kids. And I saw him later when we were in the museum, and the kids were still being so good. So I told him, like, your kids are so well behaved.
They were cute.
So, and they were running around. They had some live music there.
Yeah, there was
food trucks. Because we could have tried a food truck, I guess.
Yeah, well, we didn't get to the food truck.
No, because we ate first.
Well, I was busy taking pictures, like 100,000 pictures like I normally do of everything. So yeah, I was busy taking pictures of everything.
Well, and we'll have the pictures on our, what's that called? Blogger page. So splorinwithus.blogspot.com. You can catch those photos there. Right. So that was Saturday, because then we went and bought more trees to plant in our yard. We're growing a big fruit garden, so I guess we can call it big, but yeah. Well, I guess we're going to open a fruit stand.
It's our garden. It's our Garden of Eden. Yeah. the idea of having a garden is great.
Doing it,
it's another level. But we're enjoying it. It's fun. We're just doing a little bit at a time, and so hopefully we'll have some
oranges,
and what's the other thing?
Apples, peaches.
Yeah, we
not pumpkin pie.
We had to go.
Any pumpkins.
You wanted that certain apple tree.
Gala apple.
We
saw this Gala apple tree. I fell in love with.
And
we had to go back because we couldn't fit it in our car.
It was bigger than the car, yeah, but we made it happen somehow, and had a big old allergy attack, but I lived through it.
We were fine. We were fine. My knee was killing me, and he had allergies, and it was a lovely day. So it was still a lovely day,
yeah, in spite of everything. So the garden's coming together.
And then Sunday, I was excited. It sounds strange to say excited about a Holocaust commemoration, but one of my colleagues that I worked with years ago, I helped him actually premiere one of his Holocaust commemoration pieces, Dr. Lawrence Scher. Mm-hmm. He is a composer in residence at Kennesaw State University. And so I'd seen in the local news that there was going to be a concert, and it was going to be his music that was featured. And so I said, let's go. I want to see him, and I want to hear the music. And he just has an incredible talent for taking pieces of other art. So whether it's poetry or it's music, and combining that into something new to pay tribute to both the victims and the survivors of the Holocaust. His mother was a survivor in her family. His father's family had come from what did he say, Lithuania?
I believe so, yeah.
Right before, like in the 1930s, when things were starting to get bad. And came to America then. So it really impacted him. And I think one of the most moving parts of the commemoration, though, besides the music, which also the pianist that was with him was another friend and former colleague, Dr. Robert Henry, who is an international award-winning pianist. But during, they said the Kaddish for each of the camps there. So whenever they said the name of one of the camps, then if you had family that were in that camp, then you would stand. And so that was it's very real. Finally, that history is very real when you go.
It was very palatable when they showed some video too, some survivors, and that
speaking
and talking about their time there, and of course that was very made it very real. And
it's not just in the history book, it's not just on the History Channel. There are people today whose lives are still impacted.
Right, there's still families that are still impacted by the Holocaust, and it's you commemorate it so that you don't forget.
Repeat it, yeah. And we talked about that. They talked about that in the program. It was sponsored by the Augusta Jewish Museum, which we're going to have to visit. I didn't even know it existed. Yeah, we hadn't discovered that yet. So to realize, because the program this time was really about honoring the people, not just who were victims, but those who resisted and those who fought back. And so Dr. Scher had brought together pieces by these 4 different composers who were either involved in actively fighting back or resistance. And I was particularly moved by the story of one cantor who, when they brought the whole village out to kill everyone, he sang. And that saved his life. And so they had that music that they had a video of him later, because he would go to these Holocaust events and he would sing. Right. And they had a video of him singing it, or an audio recording of him singing it.
It was a celebration of, even in the darkest times, people would express themselves through the arts.
We're still human, even at the worst of times.
And through their poetry and the music, and the music and poetry kind of blend well together as well. But he was able to, your friend, to create...
Yeah, to weave those songs that were created then or
an original piece.
Sung then to comfort people, even though, even in situations where they knew, like, there was no way out. Mm-hmm. But they still had these songs. Like, one of the songs was a lullaby that this woman would sing to the children inside the ghetto when they didn't have music. And so she would sing to them to bring them some sort of comfort. And I think, the other thing, talking about remembering the past so that it doesn't repeat itself, they had the candle lighting with 6 candles to represent the 6 million Jews that died in the Holocaust. And they did acknowledge other people also died, but the Jews were the primary targets. But they had those candles brought up by children, I think, of that particular congregation.
And that was, I think, also to remind, as one of the speakers said, to remember that children were
1.5 million children were killed.
They were killed, burned, to ashes,
gassed or burned or both.
Yes.
And
so, we always think it's adults. We think it's something that doesn't affect us, that maybe isn't a reality or something. But when you think about children and all of that, it's it makes it a little bit more real, and just real pungent, I guess.
Well, and the music, though, was so beautiful and uplifting because that was the purpose of that music that they were singing at the time. It reminded me of that film from, was it in the 1990s, Life is Beautiful, where the family gets sent to the concentration camp. But 90s? The father has carried on with his son as if this is all a game. And at the end, he wins an American tank. He thinks he's won the contest. And so that idea that even in all of this darkness, there's still humanity. There's always and light. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important to spread the light in the darkness because darkness can't exist in the light.
So, right, exactly. So the smallest light dispels the biggest darkness. I've heard that before. So slipping back into something a little less somber, we afterwards, we thought we were going to go to one restaurant, but we got there and there was a huge group of people going in, so we went.
We saw a bridal party and we were like, nope, can't go there. Even though that would have been a lot of fun. I probably would have joined in their celebration.
But for the first time ever, we tried P.F. Chang's, which I've bought some of their frozen stuff before like in the grocery store.
I thought I had eaten there before, but apparently I hadn't. And
it was so good. And our server, she was awesome.
She was very good.
What did we have? We had a vegetarian dish called the Buddha Bowl or something like that.
I think so. And
tofu and broccoli and green beans and carrots and mushrooms.
And we had some dim sum. Didn't we?
No, we had spring rolls.
Spring rolls? Okay.
Spring rolls.
Excuse me.
There's photos in here. And then we decided on a whim to ask about dessert. I really didn't expect that they would have desserts.
I shouldn't have done dessert. I just shouldn't have.
So she brought out a menu, and it was like 5 or 6 things, and there were 2 that they made in-house, which was an apple crisp kind of thing, and then a banana. They were so good. Yeah. We ate everything.
It was fantastic.
We didn't eat for a long time after that.
Yeah.
So we had a great weekend, even though there were some things in there like missing the baseball game and the sadness. But then I got to see my old friends.
Can't always do everything. Yeah, but and had we not gone there, you would not probably seen him.
No, and I didn't even know that Dr. Henry was coming. And it was funny because I remember him from when he was a piano student. And so I was like, Robbie! And I'm like, oh, he probably doesn't have people yell Robbie at him anywhere anymore. So, oops. But so let's get on to this week's Q&A.
Okay.
All right. So since we're coming up to National Parks Week, starting on the 22nd, let's talk about some of the national places we've been to. So what is one of your favorite national sites that you've been to?
Well, I think I'd be remiss if I did not mention the Grand Canyon because that's so spectacular. Of course, we didn't do the whole Grand Canyon.
Well, we didn't even plan to do the Grand Canyon.
That was the spur of the moment. Maybe 1 hour out of the way.
We were on a road trip, and I saw a sign. It's like, hey, it's just 1 hour to the Grand Canyon.
And
so we ended up getting to a hotel at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
It was crazy, but
and
it
what
was
were
fun.
The animals?
I think there were moose.
That were just on the trail.
We probably have some pictures of that.
Oh yeah, I'll have to pull them out and
post
put them
on social media. So you want to follow us there. But we had fun doing that. And I got to ask you, Cheryl. I'll return the question. What was one of your favorite national parks? And
well,
visits?
Of course, been to Fort Pulaski and Savannah a million times.
Yes.
Went there on our anniversary a couple of years.
We sure did.
But I think my favorite is going to the national monuments in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And one in particular.
The Lincoln Memorial and all that.
This really doesn't have anything to do with the monument itself, but at Lincoln Memorial, we'd taken one of my young cousins and a friend of his. They were both like 16 at the time. And I bet them that we could get to the train station before them. And they're like, oh, you're old. You can't
do that.
And so I bet them $100. And they went running down the stairs in the rain. They ran all the way from the top of the Lincoln Memorial up the hill to, I think that's the Foggy Bottom Station. And we just walked down to the bottom of the memorial, and there's a whole taxi stand. So we
caught a taxi,
went to the train station.
We weren't young enough to beat them, but
we were smart enough.
We were smart enough. So.
And they got there, and they're so drenched and wet, and they're like, "How did you do that?"
We all had a
we
fun
never
time,
told
so,
them. We never told them. So
we're like, we're just,
yeah,
we know.
So sort of accidental trip to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Fun at the Lincoln Memorial. You know, you can find things to do. And so our challenge to you this week, again, ahead of National Parks Week in the U.S., go to nps.gov and you will find hundreds of parks, seashores, preserves, historic sites,
walking trails,
military parks. There is definitely something close enough to you that you can get to it. So go do that. If you're not in the United States, I know that there are other landmarks and national sites in other countries, so you can find one to go to and just enjoy it. Maybe you learn a little bit of history, maybe you learn a little bit about nature, or maybe you just enjoy the peace and excitement of being there. So, and also I recommend, and this is an unpaid for plug, follow national parks on Twitter and Instagram, because they are hilarious.
Oh yeah, you got
it.
a like to your tweet or something. You had tagged them in. That was funny.
I said the snark is strong with this one.
Yes.
So remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out the blog on Blogspot.
And we'll see you back here next week on Splorin with Us with Ed and Cheryl. And
remember to find the joy in the journey.
So thanks for Splorin with Us.